Assassin's Creed Shadows comes out this month, and there's a lot that can go wrong, but also a bunch of stuff that I'm excited for. So let's dive into some details to see what has changed and what it all means. By the way, this video is spoiler free, so don't worry. First, let's talk about synchronization points. You might have noticed they are different this time around. We'll no longer have the same old sync points that reveal the map around them. Now, when you climb up a sync point, you'll have to mark interesting points yourself. I think this is a very good addition to the game, because it kinda got boring and repetitive to just press a button on top of a building and instantly get 10 to 20 waypoints on your map. This might be just me, but I think this is a very welcome change to the franchise. Then we also have some information on the map size. The developers said again and again that the map will definitely be much smaller than Valhalla, which is a good thing. Valhalla's map was way too big for an Assassin's Creed game. I'm not saying that's not a good map size for a different type of game, but for Assassin's Creed, I don't think it works at all. Now, the map in Shadows seems to be about the size of the map in Origins, which is a happy middle ground between the old school small maps and the new RPG maps that are way too big. So all in all, I'm pretty happy with the map size they've chosen. I just hope there will be enough interesting things to keep you going, but they also shouldn't go too far in the other direction and have the map flooded with things that you don't care about. You know, the type of collectathon stuff that I'm talking about, the quests that are just like, go here, now go there, now come back, the fetch quests, that kind of stuff. I don't want to see any of that. Now, there will probably be some filler content. I just hope they keep it down. And by the way, the improved sync points that we talked about earlier also make it look like the map won't be as crowded with waypoints, which is definitely a step in the right direction. A very important thing for the Assassin's Creed franchise is the stealth system, which they have kind of forgotten about in the last couple of games. If you go back to the roots of this franchise, it is centered on stealth. You can just go guns blazing and kill everybody. But this franchise is about assassins, and assassins are stealthy, right? As the name of the game suggests, staying in the shadows is important in this game. This will be the first Assassin's Creed where it keeps track of where you're at depending on the light. Enemies will spot you easier or harder if you're less or more visible. Of course, this also adds another gameplay layer where you can break lights to make rooms darker and therefore make stealth easier. By the sound of it, they have also improved NPC AI because they will be able to know more things about the environment and about your movements. And another thing, non-lethal takedowns are back. I don't know why they ever took them out, but I'm glad they finally put them back in. It still is Assassin's Creed, so you won't be able to do a no-kill run of the whole game. You have to at least kill the targets. But there's another interesting development that's coming in Shadows. This will be the first ever time we'll see a prone position in Assassin's Creed. That means you can crawl in narrow spaces, remain unseen, and even do executions from the prone position. I think that takes stealth to the next level, and that's exactly what the franchise needed at this point. Now, just a bit of info about the game. It releases March 20th, 2025, and it's developed by Ubisoft Quebec. These are the creators behind Odyssey, Syndicate, and Black Flag. Obviously, very good games. Shadows will come to PS5, Xbox Series X and S, and PC. The developers said it will also come out on Switch 2 at a later date. In my opinion, possibly next year. I don't know how this will ever run on Switch 2 whenever that comes out as well, but we'll see. Next up, we need to talk about the setting of this game. We finally got Assassin's Creed in Japan. We've all wanted this for so long, and we're finally getting it. Now, the only concern is that because we've been waiting for so long, our collective expectations have gone through the roof, and the game might not be able to deliver all of that. Are we expecting too much? Are we right to expect all of those things? I don't know, but I think it's better to manage expectations than to be disappointed after the fact. And speaking of managing expectations, there's another thing. Ghost of Tsushima is the main competitor and everyone loved that game. Now, if the world in Shadows is radically worse than Ghost of Tsushima, that will be an instant issue for it, and it might also take the whole company down with it. We'll talk about Ubisoft's financial struggles later on, but for now just know this game has to be, at least in some aspects, better than Ghost of Tsushima. It has to, otherwise it's bad news. Now, of course, Ghost of Tsushima is set in the 13th century, while Assassin's Creed Shadows is set in the 16th, so they will be different enough, but there's still quite a bit of overlap between the two. I still have high hopes for this game, and I hope I won't get disappointed. You should also know that I'm a long-term Assassin's Creed fan. I've played almost all of them. I still need to go through Odyssey and Valhalla, but I've played every single old-school AC game, even the 2D ones. Those who know. Those are great games, by the way. I'm such a huge fan of the franchise. I even have a tattoo of the AC logo on my leg, and it's the only tattoo I have so far. I got it when I was 17 in high school because I just loved the games so much. Oh, and the books too. I loved the books. The AC series has amazing books, and nobody really talks about them. They're easy and fun to read, and I really think they're underappreciated. So go read them. We also have to talk about the two protagonists. We'll have Yasuke, which is a samurai fighter. He can't do a lot of parkour, but he has a gun and is much stronger. And then we've got Naue, which is a shinobi. She mainly uses stealth because she's more vulnerable in combat, and she also has a grappling hook, which might lead to some interesting gameplay. If you've played the older AC games, you might remember this setup. This is exactly how Jacob and Evie Fry used to work in Syndicate. Jacob was better in combat, while Evie was better at stealth. So they've done this before, and these particular developers, Ubisoft Quebec, developed Syndicate, so they know how to do the double protagonists in Assassin's Creed. Actually, Syndicate was one of the better games in the whole franchise, at least in my opinion, so I'm excited to see what they can do with Yasuke and Naue. I just wanted to say really quick, please leave a like if you enjoyed this video, it really does help me out a lot. I think it's very good to have two different playstyles, especially since we'll eventually get New Game Plus. You will be able to go through the game 2 times, and for each mission you can choose a different character, so you will be able to see how they play out in different ways, because they will not play out the same. It's not just gonna be the same cutscene with a different character, there will be entirely different cutscenes with dialogue choices and all that entails. Also, most points of the map should be accessible with both protagonists, but obviously Yasuke won't be doing any leap of faith off of walls. Just a quick look at him and you know that's not possible. He also won't be able to climb up buildings, so he can kinda climb on stuff or jump, but he won't be getting to the rooftop of a tower, that's for sure. And almost all missions can be played with either character, which, as I said, adds a lot of replay value. Apart from that, there will also be seasons. There will be 4 seasons and you can change them from the map menu. Every time a season changes, merchants will restore their items, and there will also be dynamic weather in each of them. Another interesting thing they added, which I think is really ambitious, is that combat and especially stealth will be affected by the seasons. For example, plants grow in spring, so you will be able to hide easier, lakes will be frozen over in winter, and guards will move around less and stay closer to fires when it's cold outside. So from the sound of it, seasons will affect stealth very much. We'll still have to wait for the game to come out to really see it. But another thing that will be affected by the seasons is the wildlife. There's always some wildlife in Assassin's Creed games, and this time there will be plenty of it. But rather than hunting the animals like in almost all other games, this time you'll have to use your stealth skills to sneak up on animals and draw them. We don't really know too much about this mechanic, so we'll have to wait for the game to come out to see more, but I really like this idea because there will be some surreal landscapes, and just drawing an animal in complete silence while you're in a lush forest or on top of a hill, I think that will look amazing, especially in photo mode. I think this mechanic is gonna make for some of the best pictures in the game. Another thing that I find very interesting about this is how the story will be modular. So there will be a bunch of targets that you need to kill, each area of the map having its own target, but you don't have to complete these in a specific order. You can just go about doing them in whatever order you feel like, and all of their stories will come together in one big story throughout the whole game. Now, I don't know if that's bad or good, it remains to be seen. I think some people will like it better this way, and other people would have liked a very linear story. Personally, I'm kinda in the middle on this. I'm open to having a modular story in Assassin's Creed, so let's see what they come up with. But we do know that you'll need to complete a number of preparation missions before you get to each target, just like the old school Assassin's Creed games or how heists work in GTA. I really like that kind of mission style where they are set up in bundles, and this is more emphasized by the fact that you can just take out the targets in any order. While you're doing these missions, there will also be dialogue choices. Apparently, these will drastically affect the missions. That remains to be seen. Every game says their dialogue choices matter, but not all of them actually make them matter. So I really hope they don't screw this up and they do a good choice of having the dialogue actually change stuff in the story. It seems as if it will, because we'll also get the canon mode, and this takes your choices out of the equation, and the cutscenes will just go through the intended story, the canon story, if you will. Because this mode exists separately, that makes me feel more confident that your choices will actually matter when you don't use this mode. I definitely won't be using it because I want to make my playthrough my own, and I want to see that my dialogue choices actually matter to the outcome of at least certain parts of the story. Oh, a great thing that's coming back will have spies. So along the story you will be creating a network of spies, and this is similar to the gang you put together over the course of Syndicate or the navy of random ships you acquire in Black Flag. I think this is a great thing to bring back in Assassin's Creed, and from the looks of it you will also be able to use the spies to get information on your targets, so these won't just be side missions that you don't really care about. This spy network has the potential to tie into the main story of the game, and apart from that you will also use your spies to get resources. And you will need the resources because you can build hideouts. You can customize your own hideout however you want, and to me this looks similar to how Fallout 4 settlements worked. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but it kinda looks similar in my opinion. mission. You'll just use resources to create buildings and decorations that you can then go through. However, it looks like you won't be able to use weapons inside the hideout, so no training in there. Maybe they'll add it later, but for now it's just gonna be a place where you can walk around. It would be really nice if you could also save your hideout configuration and maybe share it with other people, at least with your friends. I think that would be cool, but I don't know if that's in the game yet. We should also talk about DLC, because we know Shadows will have at least one DLC, and the first one will come out this year. It's called Claws of Awaji, and it will apparently be a 10-hour DLC expansion. It will come with new story content, new weapons and new skills, and you can get it for free when it comes out if you pre-order the game right now. Personally, I won't pre-order Shadows. I want to see it come out first and see what people think of it. I'll keep an eye on it for a couple of months, and then I'll jump in after they fix some bugs and add some stuff to the game. Maybe I'll even wait until the Steam summer sale to get it. But if you want to, you can pre-order it right now and get a DLC for free as well. I kinda mentioned this thing earlier, but we have to talk about it. Ubisoft's in big trouble. I don't know if you know this, but the company had a lot of fails in a row. Skull and Bones, Star Wars Outlaws, X-Defiant, Prince of Persia, and so many more. I don't know what happened, but they kept spending a lot on games and not recouping their investments. So a while ago they also said they might be looking for an offer to be bought out by a bigger company, which would be really sad to see Ubisoft go out that way. Can you imagine if Microsoft buys them too, like they did Bethesda a couple years ago? I think that would be insane. My mind would be literally blown. And I don't know if that would be a good or a bad thing for the Assassin's Creed franchise, but I would really rather have this game be a success and keep Ubisoft afloat than having Shadows be a total failure and Ubisoft goes bankrupt from it. Of course, only one game can't make a difference like that in a company the size of Ubisoft, but you have to keep in mind there were a lot of failures before this, and this is their biggest game of the year, so they have to get this right. Another point of discussion in the community has been the delays. Shadows has already been delayed 2 times, and I definitely don't think that's a bad thing. Better late and good than early and trash. Obviously, we don't want a repeat of Cyberpunk. Plus, if that happens to Ubisoft right now, they'd probably just go down forever. Even CD Projekt Red struggled after the disastrous release of Cyberpunk, and they were in a much better place before that than Ubisoft is right now. So that being said, I think delaying Shadows 2 times is the right choice. And to be honest, I'd rather have them delay it yet again than to release it with a lot of bugs at launch. From what I read so far, playtesters didn't report more bugs than what's considered normal for a game a month ahead of release, so at least it looks like we're on a good path with that. Personally, with the marketing they're putting in, I think the game will be a commercial success, even if the critics won't praise it as the best thing ever. Right now, Shadows does not have to be the best game on the market. It just needs to have a good foundation, run well, and give the players what they've been waiting for, a real Assassin's Creed set in Japan. It does have to compete with Ghost of Tsushima, and that's a big thing to do because that was a really good game. But if they make it run well at launch, with a minimal amount of bugs, and they listen to the community and to what the players want, I think that's the perfect recipe for a success. And I'm also glad that the Hidden Blade is back. That's very good for the franchise. Every AC game should have a Hidden Blade in it. I don't even understand how Odyssey had no Hidden Blade. Like, is that even an Assassin's Creed game anymore? Some people say it should be considered a spin-off at that point. Now, I'll back down because I know I angered some of you with that statement, but I really am a more old-school type of Assassin's Creed player. That being said, I did enjoy Origins in Egypt, so I'm not entirely against the RPG Assassin's Creeds. I just really like the old-school linear story stuff. I know they won't just do that, but I'm glad to see them take a step back because I was really scared after Valhalla that they will just keep going bigger and bigger, and that would have really diluted the identity of the AC franchise. All in all, Shadows comes out this month. There's a lot riding on it. I really hope it's a good game, not only because I like the franchise, but also because I'd hate to see Ubisoft take another loss right now. And yeah, make sure to hit that subscribe button if you enjoyed the video, and let me know if you would like to see more news like this.